Let's talk about two words. You probably use them, or the things they represent, every single day. They are the absolute foundation of our modern digital world, from your phone to, well, space travel. They're so common, we barely even notice them anymore. But their origin story? Well, that's a whole other matter.
So let's get right into it. We all kind of know what algebra and algorithms are, right? But have you ever really stopped and thought about where these world-changing ideas and the words themselves actually came from? The answer, I promise you, is going to be pretty surprising.
Okay, first, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. Algebra. Yeah, I know, it might bring back memories of high school math class, but it's just this amazing language of math that uses symbols, X and Y, to figure out the unknown. It's the absolute bedrock of engineering, physics, you name it.
And then we've got algorithm. Now this is basically the heartbeat of our modern world. Think of it like a recipe. It's the step-by-step instructions that tell your GPS the fastest way to get somewhere, that recommends what movie you should watch next. It powers literally every piece of software you touch.
Now, here's the really wild part. You'd think these two massive concepts would have totally separate origin stories, right? Nope. They actually share a single source. Their story starts way back, about 1,200 years ago, all in the mind of one single brilliant person.
And his name was Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. Seriously, remember that name. His work, done in 9th century Baghdad, would literally send ripples through time to shape the very device you're watching this on right now.
So, who exactly was this guy? Al-Khwarizmi was a Persian polymath, which is just a fancy way of saying he was brilliant at a lot of different things. He was born around 780 CE in what's now Uzbekistan, but he was drawn to the one place on Earth that was the absolute center of intellect and discovery, Baghdad. And he wasn't just a math whiz, he was an astronomer, a geographer, a true Renaissance man centuries before the Renaissance even happened.
And he wasn't working out of some dusty room by himself. No way. Al-Khwarizmi was one of the leading scholars at an incredible institution called the House of Wisdom. You gotta picture this place. It was like the MIT, NASA, and the biggest library in the world all rolled into one incredible hub. The House of Wisdom, which was backed by this really forward-thinking ruler, Caliph al-Ma'mun, was basically a lighthouse for knowledge during the Islamic Golden Age. It was a place where scholars from all over gathered to translate and study Greek, Indian, and Persian texts, and then build on them. It was the perfect incubator for a mind like Al-Khwarizmi's to just explode with new ideas.
And boy, did it explode. This is where he made his first revolutionary move. He created a whole new system for solving problems, a way to handle the unknown. He basically gave the world a new language for math.
So, around the year 820, Al-Khwarizmi writes this book that completely changes the game. Here's the title translated into English: The Compendious Book on Calculation by Completion and Balancing. Now, that might sound a little dry, but trust me, a key piece of that original Arabic title is about to sound very familiar.
I want you to focus on just one word from that title: algebra. In Arabic, algebra means something like restoring or completion. He used it to describe the process of taking a negative number from one side of an equation and moving it to the other to make it positive. A simple act of restoring the balance.
And boom, there it is. When his work finally got translated into Latin hundreds of years later, that one word, aljab, was just adopted straight up. Over time, it morphed into the word we all know, algebra. The name for this entire branch of mathematics comes from just one crucial step in his method. Isn't that amazing?
See, the really crucial thing here is that he created a system, a repeatable process. Before him, solving these kinds of problems was kind of messy, very hit or miss. He came along and said, okay, let's be logical about this. Step 1, represent your unknown thing with a symbol. Step 2, use al-jabr to get rid of any negative numbers. And finally, step 3, use al-muqabala, which means balancing, to simplify everything down. This was a complete revolution in logical thinking.
But wait, there's more. He wasn't even close to being done. Al-Khwarizmi's work kicked off another, equally massive revolution. This one changed the actual numbers we use and the way we use them.
He wrote another hugely important book all about calculation. And in it, he championed this new, much better way of writing numbers called the Hindu-Arabic numeral system. You know them well. They're the numbers you and I write every day, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And the most radical, most powerful, most mind-blowing part of this new system was a brand new idea, the concept of zero.
not just as a placeholder, but as a number all on its own. This was a total game changer for all of mathematics. To see why, just look at this comparison for a second. It really shows what a huge leap this was. I mean, have you ever tried doing multiplication with Roman numerals? It's an absolute nightmare. But with the simple, elegant place value system that Al-Khwarizmi helped spread, even complex math becomes smooth and efficient.
So what does all this have to do with our second magic word? Well, here's the best part. When scholars in Europe started translating his book about this amazing new way of calculating, they didn't just fall in love with his ideas, they fell in love with his name.
His name, Al-Khwarizmi, got Latinized. It became Algorithmi. And over time, the name of the man who laid out this clear, step-by-step process for solving problems became the name for any clear, step-by-step process, an algorithm. His own name literally became synonymous with the logical instructions that run our entire planet.
And that just perfectly captures his incredible, enduring legacy. These ideas that were born in 9th century Baghdad, they didn't just stay there. They traveled across continents, they traveled across centuries, constantly evolving and building to create the world that we live in right now.
I mean, just look at this journey. It starts in the 9th century in Baghdad. By the 12th century, it's being translated and spreading like wildfire through Europe. A few hundred years later, his concepts are helping to fuel the scientific explosion of the Renaissance. And fast forward to today, and those exact same core principles are the language of coding, artificial intelligence, and all of modern engineering.
So let's make this really simple. The systematic logic, the idea of using symbols, the step-by-step procedures that are making the pixels light up on your screen right at this very second, they have a direct, unbroken line all the way back to the work of Al-Khwarizmi in the House of Wisdom. It's a single intellectual thread, stretching across 1,200 years.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question, doesn't it? The story of algebra and algorithm is this incredible reminder that the shiniest new innovations of today are almost always built on the forgotten bedrock of the past. It just makes you wonder what other marvels that we take for granted are standing on ancient foundations we haven't even discovered yet.